Welcome back, Focus Learners. Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever actually wondered what a professional data analyst does all day? Well, I'll give you a hint. Most people get it completely wrong. Today, we're doing a full explainer on the true nature of data analysis. We're going to strip away all the myths and look at the actual step-by-step workflow that turns raw, messy numbers into real, business-saving decisions.
First things first, we've got to shatter this beginner illusion right out of the gate. The expectation is usually that you just sit down, crack open Excel, maybe fire up SQL or Power BI, and stare at charts until, some brilliant epiphany strikes. But the reality? The real work actually begins with understanding the core business problem long before you ever touch a single piece of software. It's about solving a puzzle, not just building a pretty dashboard.
I want you to think of a data analyst kind of like a detective arriving at a crime scene. Picture this. A manager bursts into your office, clearly stressed out, and drops this classic complaint on your desk. Our online sales dropped by 20%. Now, a beginner, they'd probably panic right alongside them, immediately downloading a bunch of sales reports and throwing together bar charts hoping for a quick fix. But our professional analyst, our seasoned detective, they pause. They start a rapid-fire interrogation. First up, compared with which period? Are we talking a drop from last month? Last year? You literally can't solve a problem until you establish that exact baseline. And the questions just keep coming. Did every city experience the same decrease? Is this a massive global collapse? Or did sales just suddenly dry up in, say, Chicago? We have to isolate the geography to know where to look.
Were prices changed recently? Did website traffic suddenly drop? Any delivery issues? See, professional analysts avoid assumptions like the plague. By rapid-firing these kinds of questions, they define exactly what needs investigating. That way, they ensure they aren't wasting hours chasing ghosts. All of this leads us to defining success. Before you pull any data whatsoever, you have to determine exactly what specific business question your analysis must answer, and, crucially, what actions the company should actually take based on those findings. If these objectives are fuzzy before you start, you're basically just wandering around in the dark. Now, what's really interesting about this step is that, as any good investigator knows, evidence is almost never handed to you in a neat little organized folder. Look at how scattered this evidence is. You got sales transactions, customer databases, website analytics, marketing platforms, inventory systems. You almost never get one perfect data set. Instead, you're piecing together this massive puzzle from a dozen different boxes, usually managed by entirely different departments. And when you finally manage to gather all those puzzle pieces, man, it is a mess. You've got duplicated rows, you'll see a John Doe in one system and just a J Doe in another. You've got European date formats tangled up with American ones, missing prices, null values. Cleaning up this gritty evidence is honestly the most underrated, tedious, yet absolutely crucial part of the entire job. It isn't glamorous for sure, but it has to be done. Because frankly, if you skip the cleanup, you fall victim to the oldest rule in the industry: garbage in, garbage out. It's a harsh reality, but if your underlying data is unreliable, your beautifully designed conclusions will be too. High-quality analysis strictly depends on high-quality data. Now that our data is finally squeaky clean, it's time for the climax of our investigation. Let's look at a real-world case study. 20%. That is the massive, sudden drop in e-commerce revenue our company is facing. The stakes are incredibly high here. Management is totally panicking, and the boardroom is desperate for immediate answers.
Naturally, the finger-pointing begins right away. Marketing says, well, obviously, our advertising isn't working. Sales assumes customers just lost interest. And finance chimes in with, simple, our prices are way too high. Are you noticing the trend here? They're all offering explanations based entirely on their own gut feelings, without looking at a single piece of hard evidence.
But our analysts, they ignore all that noise. They check marketing, sales, pricing, and everything is actually totally normal. That is, until they hit the delivery records. And boom, there is the true culprit: logistics. One specific warehouse had repeated shipping delays for nearly 2 solid weeks. Customers weren't losing interest at all. They were just getting super frustrated and canceling their late orders. So the crucial point is this: finding a trend is really only the beginning. Professional analysts always ask why. Why are sales down? Cancellations. Why cancellations? Late deliveries. Why late deliveries? Warehouse delays. Without this exact data-driven root cause analysis, the company would have wasted thousands of dollars, completely overhauling their marketing for a problem that didn't even exist.
Listen, discovering the answer doesn't actually matter if you can't communicate it clearly. Executives don't want to see the messy reality or hundreds of charts. They just want the solution. And this brilliantly illustrates the master workflow, the ultimate path from confusion to clarity. It's not just a 10-step checklist, it's a whole mindset. You start by truly understanding the business problem, then you move through the messy phases of collecting and cleaning the right data. From there, you identify that root cause, and finally, you deliver a clear recommendation that actually supports real business growth.
Which leaves us with one final, absolutely critical thought for today. Take a hard look at how your own organization operates. Are you making decisions based on actual hard evidence? Or are you kind of just like those department heads, relying on gut assumptions and potentially investing thousands to solve the completely wrong problem? Really think about that the next time you're faced with a sudden business crisis. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and remember, keep asking the right questions.